Death Stranding. It came out on Friday, November 8th, and it's been a controversial game. I got it. I've played it for a few days, and I wanted to have enough time with the game to actually formulate a good opinion on it. Now, this game is not for everybody. Alright. And we're going to break this down into two different categories here. We're going to rate the game just based on the contents of the game. Now, the game itself, graphically, it's beautiful. It's lovely. I enjoy it. Graphically, I mean, it's great scenery. Some people could say it's copy and paste. I haven't seen too much of that. Not really. I've seen it every now and then, so I can deduct a couple of points for, a little bit of copying and pasting if that's really your thing, but I really don't pay attention to that and haven't seen it too much for it to be a major distraction. Um, let's see, the gameplay mechanics are actually fluid. They work like they're supposed to work. I know some people aren't happy with the shooting, but when your main objective isn't to be a shooter game, the controls work just fine. I could ding it a couple of points just for that itself. The storyline, it's good. Of course, it leaves some plot points unanswered, but I think that this is the first out of many of the Death Stranding series. I think it's going to be like Metal Gear. And no, I'm not a Kojima fanboy. I play Metal Gear Solid. I played it, when the first Metal Gears came out and played it since then. And I haven't been a fan of every single Metal Gear Solid game. It's not like that at all. But if you've ever played a Metal Gear Solid game, you will know that the story will have corny little dialogues as they do in every Kojima production. It's one of those things that some people will find annoying or irritating, but it's not something, and it doesn't happen so often that it makes it detracting. People are complaining. I've heard people complain about the language of the game, saying it's complicated. No, it's not. If you go in and you read the tips and the data that you're provided in through the game, it breaks everything down perfectly. I think that's just people not wanting to go in depth and in detail about it. So no, it explains things perfectly. You can go into the tips and data centers and your mail. And there's all sorts of different features on here that are just wonderful. I've noticed some glitches as far as gameplay, but they're so rare, so occasionally few, that it's not really, it's when they happen, it's mostly funny. Mostly funny. You just kind of laugh at it and you go on. It's not enough to irritate you or make you, mad at the game. It happens very rarely. So, gameplay, graphics, the gameplay mechanics, they're all solid, they're all there, and they're all great. Like I said, it's not a first person shooter, it's not a shooter, it's not designed to be a shooter, but for what the game's going for, the mechanics that the game presents are sufficient enough and do a great job at it. The story has a few things not tied in, but as I said, I think it's going to be a continuation of this story. So I don't think it's going to end here, and those missing ends will pick up a little bit later. And I'm looking forward to the next Death Stranding. I really am. Some of the elements that they introduced in this game, like the social networking, it's really nice. It's really cool. I mean, I've really enjoyed that. So as the game goes itself, I can knock it a few points for its for its glitches every now and then. I can knock it for, the copy and paste that some people have said. I've always spotted it maybe a little bit through the game, but nothing major. The gameplay mechanics are fine, they're sufficient. I maybe knock a couple of points there, but overall, you're talking about out of a score of 100, you maybe knocked off 6 to 8 points. So you're looking at a 92 to 94 score, which still makes it a solid A game, a superb game as far as the game goes itself. Now, here comes the second part of the review where people get a little bit twisted. And things get a little bit muddy and murky. The game is a solid A. It's a great game. It's a superb game. Whether or not it's your taste, that's completely different. I enjoyed it. A lot of people look at the gameplay and look at the stuff and they go, oh, well, that's boring. No, it gets very intricate and very detailed really quick. to the point where you got to figure out certain things: what to carry, what not to carry, how to carry, what are vehicles useful, where do you want to fight BTs, what do you want to, you can make the game as active or as inactive as you want to. You can go around BT areas, go around, Timefall Rain, or you can be actively engaged and go to, the mule depots and take on mule people like I do. I'm sorry, I like to be a little bit more engaged. So if I feel like, well, things are kind of getting a little bit slow. I've seen the scenery here, but there's a mule station nearby. I'm gonna go mess with some people. Guess what? I go. You can make it as fun and as detailed as you want it to. I mean, you can, put yourself and interject yourself into the mule territories and have fun. Go around beating the hell out of people. Don't kill them, because the more you kill, the more BTs it's going to make. It's kind of like a thing that you got to watch out for. But, knock them out, do what you got to do, have yourselves a little bit of fun. The vehicles, they work fine. There's a little bit, like I said, there are bugs with it, just like, with the walking part. It's nothing major. It happens so rare and so far in between that it's funny when it does happen. And you get used to the little quirks. Um, you know, the game kept me engaged. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just pressing a button and walking forward. No, you got to be careful because of the terrain. You gotta watch the angles that you go at. How much weight you're carrying will affect how easily or how fast you're going to pass through an area, and especially the terrain. And it's great. And like I was walking through a river, and as I was going through the river, you could really feel the current. You were really fighting the current with your controller and trying to get up and, get to that specific location that you wanted to get to, and building roads and seeing the country come to life, because you'll run across some things. It's just very interesting and very fascinating to me. And I really enjoyed it. The whole concept of the BB. I love the bridge babies. I do. I mean, I got attached to the bridge baby. I got a 6 month old, so I'm kind of a little bit partisan to when it comes to babies crying. So I guess that kind of, oh, baby's crying. Yeah, rock it. Do something. Give it a bottle. Change its diaper. Well, it's in a bottle. Well, you can't change its diaper, but you can soothe the BB. You can make a connection with your BB and strengthen that connection with your BB. I found it really, really entertaining. You could build bridges and roads, and you could see the community come together, and things come to life as you go along through this. If that sounds like fun to you, then you'll enjoy it. You will enjoy it. The story, like I said, it was great. I've really enjoyed it. I love this game. I'm still not completely finished, but I'm still working on some of it. And I love it. I love it. I'm intrigued and I want more. And when I get done, I'm going to go back across and I'm going to try to do things differently. I'm going to see what happens when I create more dead, see how much BTs I can create in the world. Will that affect, since everything's connected, will it affect each other that way? Since I kill all these people over here, that are the mules, if I kill all of them, will it create more BTs in the other people's worlds since it's interlinked? I don't know. I'm kind of curious and I kind of want to go back through. And so, yeah, replayability. Going back through areas, seeing what others have done, and seeing if you can improve on what others have done. It's just an interesting concept. I know to some people it's going to sound boring, and if this doesn't sound entertaining to you, then don't buy it, don't go for it. You know, when it comes to my opinion on the game, yes, I like it, I love it, but I know this game's not for everybody. Just like, sports games. Sports games aren't for me. Sorry. I haven't played a sports game since, I don't know, the 80s. And I just don't refuse to play them because I just don't get anything or any enjoyment from them. I have never have and I never will. It's just not my type of game. Just like this game, Death Stranding, will not be everybody's type of game. And, there's loads of people that love sports games. People that will sit there and say, oh, well, I love Madden. How can you not like Madden? And call me everything but a decent human being for not liking a specific genre of game. But guess what? To each their own. And for my taste and for my particular taste, this is something different. This is something different that's out than anything else is out there, and that made it a well welcomed game at this point because I was getting tired of the same old stuff being churned out all the time. Same RPG, same shooter, same this and that and the other. I wanted something different, and this fit that bill to the T. So if you're looking for something different, if you want to sit down and just enjoy something and just be entertained and have some quality entertainment, don't get me wrong, it gets tough in the game. It gets complicated. It gets complex. But if you want to sit back and just have a good time and enjoy the ride, this game is for you. Just try it out and keep an open mind, and you'll probably enjoy it. But if you go into this with an already preformed opinion, guess what? You're not going to get much from it, because that preformed opinion is probably going to be the correct opinion. I mean, people have looked at this game and said, well, this looks boring to me. Well, then I wouldn't recommend this to you. If you already sit there vehemently and called it a walking simulator in everybody's comment section, then you've already made up your mind. There's no sense of trying to convince you, and then don't get it. But let those who enjoy do enjoy. Just like we'll let you enjoy what you enjoy. I have no problem with people playing Madden or whatever. Hey, have fun, have at it, knock yourselves out. I'm not gonna sit there and say you shouldn't play that boring ass shit or that simulator of sports. No, I just enjoy, have fun. I'm glad you like it, and yes, some sports games have won Game of the Year. Games that I've never actually ever appreciated before have won Game of the Year. But I have to give them their kudos and credit where credit is deserved. And as far as the game itself and rating the game specifically, it's great. It's a contender for Game of the Year. Whether your opinion is for or against it, as far as technologically wise and with proof and evidence that can be backed up, the game presents everything in a great light. The perception is all on you. I'm Mr. Anger. If you found this review helpful, give me a thumbs up. If not, hey, I can only do and say what I feel. But I appreciate you viewing, and thank you anyways. Y'all have a good one.